My experience is limited to a film which I made. Though I understand everybody, when it comes to terrorism, everybody thinks that the real terrorism in India is in Kashmir, isn't it? When I was making this film, I also thought so. When I was making this film, when I was releasing the film, I went to lots of colleges and universities, all young boys and girls, and I used to ask them, where do you think the maximum terrorism takes place? And in every single university, they said Kashmir, right? But the facts are different. You know, the third largest terrorist group in the entire world is in India, and it's called Naxalism or Maoism, and they operate in 29 districts, and 40% of India is infested today with Naxal movement. I call it Naxal movement because it started in a place called Naxal. It's also known as Maoism. And you'll find the general narrative is, the general perception is, that is basically a class struggle, and it's a struggle between oppressed and oppressor. And that's why you will find most of the movies which are made in the world, or the narrative in media, or the intellectuals, or in panel discussions, you'll find a lot of people supporting it. Now, how does it happen that, you know about Kargil War? You guys know about it? Okay. More people have lost lives in Red Corridor, the place where Naxal movement takes place, than they ever lost in India-Pakistan war, and we have had 3 wars and Kargil +1, so almost 4 wars, right? Now, why is it that the biggest threat to this country, see, the threat which comes from outside the country, which is outside the border, for that you have military, for that you have air force, you have war strategy, and you can fight it. But how do you fight terrorists who are between us, who are one of us? I won't be surprised if one of us, somewhere directly or indirectly, is linked with this movement. You won't even know. You won't even realize. Somebody in your family, somebody in your classroom, somebody, your professor, your doctor, maybe your lawyer. Now, how has it happened? Because they are fighting what is called the 4G strategy, the 4th generation strategy. And this strategy, on one hand, they fight in jungles with arms. On the other hand, and do you think that in the deep jungles of Chhattisgarh, where these people operate, which is not even connected with roads or any kind of infrastructure, how is it possible that it is surviving, thriving, and it's prospering all the times? The reason behind it, the 4th generation, as the Ajit Doval, the NSA of India, National Security Advisor, he says, is because this war actually is being controlled in the urban areas of India, and what is called urban Naxalism. And it's very unique to India. You won't find it. Now in Europe, this has started happening. The IS, they are following this strategy of Naxal movement of India. Now what happens is, they realized and what is the objective? It's a printed document, so don't be under any kind of misunderstanding that it's some kind of a covert operation. It's an overt operation. They have a document. They have 5 documents, you know it. They have 5 printed documents, and those documents says that what is their objective? Their objective is to topple the government of India, take over the state with armed struggle. It has to be fought only with arms. That is the objective of Maoism. Now they also realize that how will they find support in urban areas? How do they infiltrate? Now if you have seen a film called Godfather, or if you have read about it, or if you know about Mafia, they picked this strategy from Mafia. What happens in Mafia is that there are links, you know, like this, they are connected. Chain hoti hai na, chain. So it's connected with each other. The minute somebody is found, you cut it off. So in urban areas, they realize that India, right from, because of, please pardon me, but because of our first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru's fascination with socialism, and that time it was fashionable to align with Russia. At that time it was intellectual thing to be part of Marxism. It was a new theory. But like any ideology, after some time loses its relevance. Like a lot of economists say that capitalism is also now is the beginning of the end and it's going to die and a new system is going to take place. So the same socialism, the concepts of the communism, which were very fashionable and very relevant to the society, today have lost their relevance. And what has happened that Naxalism has converted into a very big business. And this business basically is run by lawyers, human interest groups, media, intellectuals, all these people. And how the funding comes, I won't go into details because whatever I am saying is based on 7-8 years of research. And all this money directly comes through NGOs and human interest groups, basically. Congress government, the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and the Home Minister, they said this is the biggest ever threat on India. 40% of our country is in conflict. It's like a civil war. So the strategy they have adopted is unlike the terrorism in Kashmir. In Kashmir, they've also started doing small kids. I was there for 6 months shooting. Small kids, they train them in stone pelting. Okay, and they glorify suicide bombing. Similarly here, like IS and Taliban, they brainwash minds of young children to convert them into suicide bombers. Similarly, the intelligentsia of this country has somehow become the spokesperson. I'm not saying everybody, but you'll find primarily a lot of people are in support of that. So they realize the best weapon today is to use students, the young minds. If you can reach the minds of students, then you can really create this revolution. Because young students want a change, they want to rebel, they want justice. They have this utopian, idealistic concept about the world. Utopias never happen, you know that. And for that, they have employed these front organizations which run as student forums, as lawyer forums, whatever, different kinds of forums and different kind of cultural organizations, Kabir Kala Manch, through music, art, literature. Because music, art, literature, they realize is the first thing which students get attracted to, through movies and things like that. So the mind of the student today is the biggest weapon they have. In India, generally students who come from smaller towns, from oppressed caste system, they come to JNU and these big institutes. When they come, the first thing they start doing, the professors, they start brainwashing them slowly. I've been a victim of that when I was in college. And they start brainwashing them. And their idea is that by 2025, if I'm right, by 2025, to put their flag on Red Fort. And I won't be surprised if they achieve it in many ways. You know, already you are seeing in the campuses of India, okay, a lot of turbulence is happening, and that is happening because their strategy is to divide men versus women. And how they do it? Normally it should be facts first and then narrative. What they do is narrative first and then facts. So in colleges, a boy commits suicide. Nobody knows the facts. Before even the news comes out, somebody has committed suicide, the narrative comes out, it's happening because he's from a lower caste or he's a Dalit, and therefore he's oppressed and the people are doing this. Right? So this is how they operate, but the biggest danger today is that the Naxals, which is a big business now, and to run that business, they are using the young minds of India, okay, and converting them into the Naxal warriors in urban towns, and you will never know about it. So next time when you support something like somebody is committed suicide or a girl has been molested, but before even you reacted, just make sure that what are the facts and you are not becoming part of a narrative which is being created by the Naxals.